Can you still hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay,
What's going on,
good.
everybody? Troy Rawlings here. Welcome to another exciting, vigorous fantasy
Yes,
version of Meet the. And today
yes,
we are going to meet the fantasy maker.
yes. The
Take it how
fantasy
you take it,
queen.
literally. Queen
That's right, fantasy queen.
and only Queen
Hey,
Sheewana.
Troy.
And Sheewana is really her name. Sheewana, right? That's really your name.
Yes, that's my real name, Sheewana. Go ahead, Troy, with your jokes.
No, you said that's something. That's something great.
It
Uh,
is.
Sheewana Kerns, and she mentioned before we were talking, and you mentioned before how names like that in high school, middle school, elementary school, it's like
I'm
and then
telling
anything you get in trouble for, big lips, big butt. I remember a girl named Shelby, and she probably would watch this. Shelby Thomas. She was first grade, second grade. Shelby had a little big butt. Everybody just like just want to see Shelby's butt, and I know she hated that. But by the
you.
time she got to high school, to college, it probably was attribute. Big lips.
Mm.
You can get talked about.
Yes,
I
yes,
remember
yes,
my
yes.
girl talked about my red lips because I used to lick my lips, did that channel. Anyway,
Okay, LL.
but yeah, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yes.
but look at Sheewana now.
Yes, look at Sheewana now. So yes, the name was funny in high school, and of course, it didn't grow on me until afterwards because it was so annoying. It was like, what does she want to do? She want to do this. She want to do that. She nasty. She everything. That SHE got me into a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Well, look, let's jump right into it. Meet that we like to jump right into the juiciness, literally.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
we have upcoming
Yes.
events, as you know, for some people, even though you may be watching this at a later date, November 22nd through the 24th in the DMV in Baltimore, we're doing the Taboo Talk Fall Fun Weekend, adults only weekend. If you've been to
Mhm.
my Taboo Talk shows, sex, love, relationship, everything in between, and Sheewana Kerns is one of our sponsors. And when I heard about what
Yes.
I wanted her on board, and she wanted to come on. It was like the perfect timing, perfect connection, and let people know what Fantasize Your Room is about. What
Yes.
did it come from? Where did it come from?
Okay, so first I want to say thank you for allowing me to be a sponsor. I was really, really excited about it, and I'm more excited about fantasizing rooms and actually bringing fantasies to life. So it kind of came from a lot of suppression of the visions that kept coming that I kept suppressing because of being a woman and not sure how the world would take it or accept it. So I suppressed it for a while until I couldn't suppress it any longer. And the vision was simply to bring fantasies to life. There are so many people that have fantasies and they actually don't get an opportunity to live them out. So I'm actually giving everyone the opportunity to live out your personal fantasy.
Mm.
Yes.
so so suppression. We're in a time where it seems like freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Whereas years ago, it might have been under some kind of attack. Now, if you attack somebody who's doing some kind of a freedom of expression, you're going to get attacked. So
Right.
this is something we're talking about. And the great thing about it, like a couple of my vendors and people, you talk about people, you talk about women, you definitely talk about couples. But what somebody comes to you and they want to say, okay, fantasize your room. How can you help me? Me and my lady want to uh, get into some of this stuff, or me and my guy, or me and my partner, we want to get into some of
My
this stuff.
partner.
How do you introduce what you do to them when they come? How do you introduce it?
Well, I kind of try to remind people that it's a give and take about what you like and what your partner likes. So it's something that you actually have to sit down to kind of compromise about what you guys are willing to try. I
But they
suggest that
come to you literally like a travel agent. They sit down, they're like, you're a
yeah, like
consultant.
sit
You're like,
down and kind of
so you
figure
like
out what you would like to try because I don't think that
want to be
I
pretty?
believe
Yeah.
I think that everyone should at least try something at least once. So I created some packages for beginners, intermediates, and for expert packages for someone who's having a hard time in deciding what they may or may not like. So I made them kind of comparable so that you can kind of ease yourself into some things and not feel intimidated.
Okay. So that's very key. That's very key.
Right.
It's funny you mentioned that because just that in and of itself, I'd be at the meeting. It was like, yeah, I'm a beginner, but look at this expert pack. What is that? Oh.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And
So
each package is, I'm sorry, each package is tailored that one doesn't override the other. So the
mm,
packages are ultimately created to use at one time,
mm.
but it allows you to break each individual item down to your comfort level. So if you use something and you're not comfortable, at least you know. But if you become comfortable, then ultimately you want to use them all together. Right? Yeah.
So me and my lady come in. We sit down. Like, all right, want you to fantasize your room. What would be a questionnaire, or what would some of the main questions that most people have that you answer and in the midst of setting up? Like, what do we get? We want to do something different. Heard about fantasize your room. We're new to this.
We're
I,
new to this. So I always try to start people out with the items that are in the beginner's package. If you don't want to consume yourself with so many items and all these split decisions, then I would suggest you try them one at a time.
okay.
Key is to make sure that you're doing something that is not intimidating. A lot of people are intimidated by the things that they see and they're just like, no. Most guys are like, yes. And most women are like, no.
Oh,
So,
really? Oh, so the guys seem
yeah,
like
yeah,
they with it, and most of the women like, uh-uh.
yeah, they're
So
kind of,
what's in the beginner's package? What? Just give me an example of one of your beginner's package, because I know you customize them according to the
right.
people, according to
But I
their
do
company.
have 12 of my own. Yes. So one of the items that are in the beginning, everything has bondage. So I'm really big on bondage because I'm really big on trust factors. A lot of people have trust factors when it comes to being in your birthday suit and being at your most vulnerableness. And that's when you are in your birthday suit. So a lot of these things are tailored to be able to accommodate that. So I have bondage items that you can set yourself free from. A lot of people want to know that they're not stuck.
Let me write that down because I like that. I like to be able to set, like, wait a
Yeah.
second now.
Right. So they're willing to try, but I gave them options to be able to free themselves as they build themselves up. So those are some of the things. A lot about vibrators and things like that. They only last for 25 minutes and they're at one single speed. So it's not overwhelming. So they're very, very small, very small. They're actually like
Like bullets,
finger
like the little bullet.
half the size of a bullet, half the size of a bullet. Because once again, we don't want to give them
Women can lose
anything
that.
that's
Like, is
intimidating.
it? Is it?
It's half the size. That's why it kind of slides onto the finger so that you can control it with your index.
Oh, okay.
So kind of items like that are kind of fun. I have whips and paddles. So these are some of the things that are a little bit more softer, not intimidating, not very hard. So you can kind of see if it's something that you like. And if you like the items, then you graduate to our intermediate.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And
Now,
everything is sold separately. So you can pick and choose and you can add to my packages as well. You can tailor my packages as well.
now, as of recent, what's the age range and average client that you get now?
Between 25 and 45. Uh More so to speak. It's a little harder with older couples or older people to kind of get them into something that they've never tried before. So it's not necessarily will the packages work for us. It's actually getting them to pay attention to something that's new. So the 25 to 40 age bracket, yay.
As soon as they
40.
get into a crazy argument, it's like, you want me? I told you I'm on my way upstairs. It's like, come on now, I got the wax is ready. It's like,
I'm
look,
telling
I gotta
you.
finish this report. And oh, forget it. You know what? Forget it. Forget it. Let me take this
We
leather.
all over
Let me
it.
take
Don't
this
worry
latex off.
about it. Try it next time. So yes, but I'm working on that, making sure that my older couples, my older people are comfortable, so that we can get them used to experiencing something more fun. Let's have
You know,
fun.
I'm 40. I'm 40 and over. So I remember the show. It reminds me. I mean, crazy enough, it reminds me of the show Fantasy Island. And I mentioned this to you because when you said it, but I was like, because that's what. If you go back and watch Island now, older and sober, you're like, where did they get this package deal from? And did they really fly there?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind
See?
of into this, you know, it was as much as they could do in the 70s and 80s, but it was like the whole reason for the couples and the people to go out there was to experience their fantasies and their whole, you know. So someone sitting down with you and going through this. So everything is, you deal with bondage, you deal with different things, but you do different things. You do some intimacy things like candles and all that other stuff that people
Yes,
may.
yes. So all of those things set the moods, from rose petals to candles, just the whole decor of what you're looking for. All those things set the mood. It's wonderful to go into an environment that's already set. That's the whole purpose of fantasizing rooms, is that you can do something at home, but because you're so used to folding laundry on that bed, or, playing with your kids on that bed, it doesn't quite give you that intimate jump off, So,
That's a deep thing. Is that, do you run into that problem a lot? People to say, okay, I want to try something new, but I don't have time because the house, and I don't know how we're doing how it. Do you run into that? Do most people try to do it at their homes, or they try to set up like a hotel room or something like that?
they try to set up outside their homes. I've had clients that actually ask for personal setups in their homes, but they have an additional space for that. But it's never really the bedroom. And, those who don't have the extra space, the bedroom can be intimidating where there's somewhere that you were either pregnant or going through being sick or just under the weather. All of these, energies are in that room. So it's not that it can't be done. It's just that it's easier for people to get into what they see and what they picked when it's a different environment. So you set the mood, you set the tone, you set the environment, and then we have fun.
I love it. I love it.
Yes,
So
me too.
so obviously, I was going to say what makes this different, but obviously we see what makes this different from everything else. You're walking people through a process that they would normally, it's intimidating for most people to, even if they're just having a pleasure party, somebody may show you how to use something. But for somebody taking you something to set up an atmosphere, I haven't seen too much of that. And especially coming behind, the 50 Shades movie and having your own room. And even though the movie was it was weak, but but
I agree. I was so upset. I was like,
because we kind of, our erotic is totally, our
different.
erotic is, our
I
erotic
wanted
has
to
drums
see.
in it and sweat,
I
house
wanted to
music, and
see.
you know
I was so nosy. I was so nosy. I
working.
wanted to
Our
see.
erotic has so much pole somewhere. There has to be a pole somewhere. The woman has to be built like a woman,
I'm
not
telling
somebody dog.
you. Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. I like the fact of him having a separate room. I like the fact of the contract, because that I like that whole mystique, be able to do stuff like that with your mate. And at a time where so many people, I think the numbers are dwindling down, but I think it's so much money and divorce and issues and drama and the way we talk bad to each other. The whole reason I came up with Taboo Talk was really to help men and women communicate better in love
Yes.
as a whole. Because
Yes.
if we talk to each other like hoes and bitches and N
Right.
words, this, that, and that, it, the dissension,
It's
you
safe
know,
space.
dissension, the
Yes.
animosity, so anything to help people come together more, especially couples doing something with each other,
Yes.
pushing the envelope. I tell people all the time, a guy love to get that call. He's at work and all of a sudden his woman calls. He's like, hey, you busy? Like, yeah, I'm busy right now, but what you
What's up?
anything from? It's like, I'm just gonna suck your dick when you get home. He's like, oh yeah, my son fell off a cliff. Oh,
I
I got
gotta leave early. Well, you know what, Troy, and that's why my packages aren't necessarily just built for the bedroom. I have items that are actually built for outside of the bedroom. So if you're at an event with your spouse, for your job or family gathering. You have the remote and she has the other piece, kind of, and even though she's over there and someone might be entertaining her for a moment or buying her a drink and you happen to see it, then you can hit your little button and it gives her a little tingle. She look around the room, she's like, where is he at? Can he see me? And it's so funny because he could do it at any time. So it's like, oh my gosh. So it's giving him control and a little bit power, a little bit intimacy, a little bit fun, and she feels it all day long, the whole time they're out, so the whole time they're waiting to get home, just take each other clothes off. But, I try to make sure that we have fun outside the bedroom that leads back to it, because what happens is if you're entertaining someone or if the opportunity comes where someone else can be entertained, you want to kind of take away those options by making sure that you guys are kind of sealed tight. So it's items like that that keep the fun going, it keeps the spark going, and just things like you said, just phone calls like that. Someone said, I hope I can say this, someone said that one blowjob a day keeps the hose wet. So I'm like,
Well,
huh.
well, what's funny? I just had a conversation about that with somebody. It was Niecy Nash said
Yeah.
that, and then we heard Niecy and her husband are getting. She also said it's hard to argue when you're naked, and I agree with both things. I mean, blowjob, I want the whole shebang sometimes, but I agree with the whole thing. But this is just, like we said, this is just a portion. But the reason we talk about this and we like to engage and talk about sex and love and the intimacy part is
Yes,
because that's the thing. That's one of the tools that actually are made to help bring people closer together.
it
So the
is.
more fun you can have and the more it becomes not taboo,
Right.
or and hopefully you can open up in more dialogue and conversation when that's the case. So how can people get in touch with you before we get out of here? How can people get in touch with you?
All right. So they can follow me on IG at Fantasize Your Room. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter the exact same way. Or you can email me at Sheewana, SHEEWANA, Fantasize My Room at gmail.com.
What just happened? Somebody got a remote. Somebody got a remote walking around.
You're funny.
What just happened? That little burst at the end. You just couldn't.
I know. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I do. I get so excited about it. It brings me so much joy. It brings me happiness. I was just telling one of my friends that people think that I'm 100% like when it comes to talking about it, and it's like I get butterflies too because I have to break a barrier with everyone that I meet to get to that comfort level where they can. Express, issues with erections or, having issues becoming moist and the things that they need to use. Those are issues that people just don't just say. So, I always get butterflies when I'm having those conversations to break those things. But once I do, I'm so tickled because then we can go into so much stuff and it's just so much fun. Like sex is fun, and they kind of swept it under the rug with the Me Too movement and all these things and issues that the world is having. And no one really wants to talk about it. But why not? It's wonderful. It was created to be wonderful, and everyone does it. So why not step it up? Why not
That's
have
right.
fun? Let's step it up. And we're gonna show them that the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. That's right, Baltimore. We are coming to see you, baby.
I love it. Taboo Talk Fall Fun Weekend. One of our amazing sponsors, Sheewana Kerns, Fantasize Your Room. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Troy. I appreciate you having me.
We'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.
All right. Okay. Bye bye.